Hi, I'm Michelle Baccarella, one of the founders and the formulator for Dazywood Superfood Topper. And I'd like to talk to you today about our product and why we decided to come out with it. Why did we think it was so important for our pets? Well, I've been formulating products for humans and people for over 25 years. And I'm a registered dietitian. I have my master's in clinical nutrition. And I know how important nutrition is, not just for humans, but for our loved ones, which is our pets. They're part of our families. And looking at what I was giving my pets and knowing ingredients and how they work in our bodies, I could see that the foods that they have were not the best source of all nutrients. There are a lot of good products out there, and they all start, I wouldn't say all, but many start with very good ingredients. But because of processing and how they have to be stabilized and packaged and have a certain amount of nutrients, that a lot of those nutrients are actually damaged in that processing. So knowing how ingredients function in our bodies, and after 25 years of research into how our pets' bodies function and what nutrients they need, I went through all the foods, looked at what they were providing and the nutritional gaps. And using the knowledge that I have learned with all of my work in formulations, I was able to choose really good ingredients that I knew would supply our pets the nutrients that they need. For example, when you look at pet foods and you see ascorbic acid and cyanocobalamin and zinc oxide, they have to put those ingredients in there to make sure that they're meeting their label claims for those vitamins and minerals. And that really is very important. And they have to add these things back in. That the reason why you don't see foods is because during the process of manufacturing these foods, all of those nutrients are damaged. Most of those nutrients are damaged. And they have to make sure that all of those are put back in. But since they are from chemicals, pretty much, and not from foods, they're going to function differently in your pet's bodies. So with our superfood topper, using the research of basically what works best in their bodies and in our bodies too, we made sure to put all of those nutrients in food form back into our product to fill in those nutritional gaps left by their dog foods. Because we know from the research that nutrients from food just function better in their bodies. Their bodies were made to use food for those nutrients and not chemicals. So we make sure not only do we put those vitamins and minerals back in with our whole foods, we are also putting back in other things that are missing, like enzymes that are also cooked out when they are manufacturing these foods. And we know even with freeze-dried fruits, for example, which I do think are really good and a better choice, that even in that process, for example, about 50% of your B1 is damaged just with freeze drying, and it does affect other nutrients as well. So we make sure with the enzymes and the vitamins and minerals only from food, we only use whole foods, we put those back in. Probiotics, which again are damaged in processing, we make sure for their microbiome, we've got those back in. Every ingredient supports the microbiome. And we just wanted to make sure anything that could be missing, these essential fatty acids, DHA, EPA they need for brain health, heart health, we put those in. So really, I just used what research was available about how our dogs' bodies function, what nutrients help with those functions, going over their food to see what they were getting from those foods and what they weren't getting. And we put all of those back in to fill in those nutritional gaps. And that's why we came up with our Dazywood Superfood Topper. We wanted your pet to have complete nutrition every single day. And my pets too. You know, they're part of my family. And just like all the formulas that I work on that are whole food, your pet deserves that as well. Thank you for listening.